Secret powers, hidden Discord calls, sex for favors, secrets, cover-ups, lies, corruption.
You think you know the whole story? Think again.
I've done it all. A board owner, a professional shit poster, live streamer, a fighter. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe, and now I'm gonna give you the whole truth.
On tonight's episode, Gahul uncovers the sinister plot to snake him and every other man on the earth. He unravels the web of lies and deceit laid by Godwinson and his hidden sinister connection to the ultimate in e-girl fuckery.
Oh, hi, is this Gahul?
Hidden agendas will be exposed.
He really loves to see fat men humiliate themselves.
Secret Discord romances laid out bare.
He was Howl?
Friendships ruined.
So it's probably 65% this fucking, this e-girl.
Lives destroyed.
Oh, you're fucking homeless now.
All over. One Louisiana
I mean, the
Games are
videos of the
toys.
girls degrading themselves and performing my whatever dark sexual
Wow, you got
fantasy I
porn.
wanted.
Ghoul uncovered the truth. Only one man can expose the e-girl menace and rid the internet of her corrupting influence.
The public knew about this. They would lose their minds. I'm Gahul, and this is Conspiracy Theory.
Alright, it's that ghost with the kino here. Ooh. And today's show is about Gahul.
May 25th, 2021. The opening fire on a war of snakes begins, as Godwinson's months-long plan to BTFO me begins. Many would say that I should have acted sooner, but as we all know, the old Klingon proverb, revenge is a dish best served cold. Lost and in a daze after the sudden betrayal of my so-called E-friends, I turned to depression and solitude and embraced my inner demons. When upon one night in midsummer, I stumbled upon a most horrid, most interesting thing in my mailbox. There inside lay what but a letter. A letter addressed to me. Now, this was no mere pen and paper letter. Inside contained only two things. The first, a blank cassette tape. The second, a note with two words only. From Lego. It seems I still had a friend in some places. A cassette tape was an unusual medium for sure, especially for what I assumed to be an extremely important series of information that he relayed to me. Thankfully, though, I always come prepared.
Hello.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny how you found PvP, I guess, after the stream.me stuff, and you kind of just, like, this guy, we're gonna do stuff together. Like, what was it?
Well, what I liked about PPP was like, yeah, well, I'll tell you, like, the guy doesn't hide his face. He's entertaining. And that's pretty much all there was at the time, right? Everyone was like hiding behind avatars. Every time you wanted to do a show with someone, it would be you talking to an avatar.
Oh, on Google Hangouts.
You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I just thought, like, well, PPP's entertaining enough. He can keep up with me, and I can keep up with him, and we can come up with spar with ideas with each other. And there we go. You know, he has a good way of telling a story that matches my sort of absurdist taste.
Yeah,
there's not going to be like someone trying to pull herself all the time about, is this accurate? Like, come on. It's not a news show. It's not like we're not legitimately, we're just two entertainers, and that's the way you have to keep it.
And he has the Jahan's aesthetic, right? He has the kind of strange,
the Jahan's aesthetic.
Kind of
well, I mean, people say this, but like people forget that Jahan's is like a male to female trans woman. Like the guy has less testosterone than the average woman. The guy's like genetically fucked. Like Jahan's isn't fat.
No, I know. It's no T whatsoever.
Yeah, like at all. So that's a man without T.
And his voice that high. I understand that. But it's like,
so I mean, people say like, oh, it's PPP is Jahan. It's like, come on, you clearly don't even know who Jahan's is. Right. You're saying that. You've probably seen a thumbnail of Jahan.
Aesthetics, you know what I mean? Yeah, if you hear his voice, that's enough to know they're not even close. Like, what is it? The Philadelphia roles, which is lost to the wind once the channel got destroyed.
It's lost. It's got to be archived. Well, look, PPP wanted me to do PPP was like, I want to do Man v Food, and I want you to edit it for me professionally, and we can start doing this as a show. So we tried that as like a pilot show. And then we realised, I said to people, do you want to keep doing this episodes? And he was like, no, it's just going to fuck me up. It's going to kill me. Because, I mean, he was really bad after that. And we were just like, there we go. But we did it for Hillary, Hillary Clinton.
Hillary for you and me. Where'd you find that song?
But, there's an alternate reality out there where PPP is, doing Man v Food, where he's visiting restaurants and, and someone's recording him with a camera and he's, eating vast quantities of food.
Yeah.
People are cheering him on.
I just imagine the video, you were sitting there and you had your smartphone out and you recorded. You just watched him stuff his face.
Well, I mean, it is highly edited together, right?
Yeah, that means you said that recorded.
So what would happen is, PPP would, have... So we're at a sushi restaurant, right? So they're bringing, waves of food. PPP would, have, 10 of those sushi rolls in, 5 seconds. They bring my food as PPP is run. PPP went to the toilet about 20 times.
Oh,
and as PPP's in the toilet, I'm eating vast sums of food. I think I ate more than PPP, I have to say. But PPP was running to the toilet.
Oh, so it's highly edited. Oh.
We were there for 4 hours.
Sad. I thought it was all in one take. It looked like it was.
Can you imagine?
I thought it was 100 straight. It looked like it was. And downing the water, pouring the low sodium soy sauce. I thought it looked like, could have fooled me.
No.
Could have put
we were there for 4 hours.
What was it called?
No, we ate loads.
I forgot that movie.
I only went to the toilet once, but that was it. Yeah.
What's the name of the movie? It was the Children's Men of Children. The one where no one can get pregnant. Was that one?
Children of Men.
Children of Men. That's it. Long tracking shot where it's all you pulled that. The editing ability. I really thought it was all in one take. I thought we sat down and ate 100 straight. All at once.
No, I think it would have killed him. It would have killed him.
But all right. It's just, I just find it interesting.
I think it's so weird that on the internet, people think everyone's got a feed aesthetic. I don't know what degenerates are out there that are doing this.
This is what they say. They say this about Toad. They say that about Toad. They say that about what's it called? Josh, even, because they have Amberlynn Reed, who's just disgusting, repulsive, sad to look at.
Yeah.
But they don't actually buy Amberlynn Reed food and record her doing it. You know what I mean? It's not like super chat through food or something like that, because that would be an actual feeder if you were actually handing them food and recording them do it. That would be kind of feeder behavior, right? That's what that's where you get that suspicion from. So
well, I mean, the reality is we went for a meal. We were just eating ourselves.
And that's a meal for people. I would imagine.
Are you still there, Leo?
Yeah, hello.
So I have a Facebook. I've got. What do I have? I had a Snapchat. I have quite a sort of normie tier, whatever you want to call it.
So then why
have a
would you
WhatsApp.
ever, I don't know how you could ever do, well then I guess PPP also. You know, like I was like, I don't know how anyone could ever be in this sphere. Like how you could browse like these kind of sites knowing that that's out there. Because maybe it's because you know what it is, Godwinson. The reason why I'm so scared is because I've seen what has happened to people. I've seen.
Well, I mean, like,
lives.
I've already been doxxed. Like, so what happened was one of my friends, the guy I went to uni with, he wrote an article on Ethan Ralph. We had a conversation.
Okay.
And he wrote an article on Ethan Ralph and Andy Borsley being pedos. And then that all leaked out on the cowboard, and they looked through my friends list, and they saw that this guy was in my friends list.
Whoa, wait. So, like, a friend of yours, like, he wrote an article about Andy Worsley and Ethan Ralph? They're nobodies.
Yeah, let me show you this. Yeah,
they're nobodies.
Jasper.
Like, what?
Well, look, we had a conversation, and he was talking about, like, a story he wanted to do.
Okay.
And I said, well, you know, come on, I've been, like, watching these guys, and, you know, here's...
All
this was,
right,
like,
YouTubers shared files, and this is the This Week in Nectar I couldn't attend because I had to do a house visit.
Yeah. So this was, like, my friend. You know, we went to uni together and stuff like this. You know, and so they doxed, like, all of my friends that so happened to have become journalists, like, and apparently I was journalist. Well, it's just not the case. You know? It's just not the case. But yeah, like, I mean, and what did they do with that information? I don't understand. Nothing happened. Like, Jasper got contacted.
How could I'm reading the article right now? How could from this article, notorious YouTuber, like, how did they make the connection? So they just saw that this guy, so that they searched his name, and then they saw that he was friends with you or something. Like, I don't. How could just from this article were they able to find out who you were?
Oh well, I mean, they looked at my Facebook friends list. I saw Jasper there.
Oh, so they straight up found your. They found your Facebook. It's done. Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, you can Google my Facebook now. I'm sure you can see me there. You know.
Heroic, iconic, my man. I don't know how you do it.
Is this the best we fucking got? God damn it, Leo! I was expecting more! This is nothing! Fuck! How the fuck am I gonna beat TFO Godwinson with this shit? Fuck! God damn it!
Fuck's sake, Leo. I'll expect it better. Shit. Fucking bullshit. There's nothing on here at all that I could use. Nothing I can... What does that mean? I know what this means. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Give it to me. Yes. I'm in.
As soon as I saw the data, I knew I had to call the one man who could help me dissect it.
You've given me the data. Weasel, you've given me this data. This text log. What does it mean? What does it say?
Adam used to have this, I think this was actually his first real outing on the internet where he started developing his persona and all that. I think he used to be a lot more open about his homosexuality back then too. Essentially, it was Britpol. Now, of course, as a cultured man like yourself would know what Britpol is. Sort of this weird offshoot of Pol where just British people sort of fuck about. Usually not as right-wing as Pol proper. But, you know, they'd have their little meetups and all of that, and that's where a lot of this drama comes from. This guy was, like, friends with a whole bunch of those people, and they, of course, as Adam has a tendency to happen around him, ended up backstabbing each other. Now, I think this person, Jaterix, is some kind of a race-mixing weirdo, but he did give a pretty decent inside scoop about how the guy used to... They used to have these these Britpole meetups where they'd hang out, have a couple of beers, and then supposedly Mr. Godwinson had some younger guys there. He would take these younger guys to his hotel room because I don't know. This is what British people do when they meet up about right-wing bullshit. They also apparently met up at Johan's house, I think, which is also sort of gives you the timeline of when roughly this happened, back when he was really obsessed with Johan's, before PPP became his new Johan's.
Now, Johans, you think this Johans fellow he was homosexually attracted to? Was this a homosexual obsession with Johans? Or was this separate from his homosexuality?
I honestly think there is probably a very heavy homosexual element. What's become very clear also with his obsession with this, what is it, the McCramer Manor or McKinley Manor? Probably McCramer Manor. Is that he really loves to see fat men humiliate themselves. And we've seen this play out with PPP as well. In fact, I have a suspicion that he probably tried to do something similar with you, but fairly quickly realized, no, because Gahul guy, I can't actually manipulate him, so PPP, you need to stop hanging out with him. And then at a certain point he realized, no, this guy is kind of entertaining, maybe we can kind of use him, and he sort of became okay with you. But we'll get to that. Should we probably finish the whole...
Yes, we must analyze first, right? We must analyze this data first before we go to the truth. The matter of
exactly.
We must analyze this data. These raw text files given to us by our elite associated in the underground.
Perfect.
What can you tell me? Tell me more about these files. What does it say?
So yeah, he's also convinced that the whole thing where he's actually called Adam Edge of the Edge Baronetcy is true. A blue-blooded Tory reptile, as he calls it.
Adam Edge. Adam Edge. That's his Christian name, the Adam Edge.
Adam Edge, yes. You can actually look up the entire line. Apparently it was some loser noble or some loser commoner at some point, and I don't know, some king thought he was a nice guy, so he gave him his edge or the baronetcy. He's calling him a bloke that attempts to reveal personal information of people that he's ostensibly friends with just for his own amusement. I was not the first victim, he says.
That sounds very gay.
It is quite gay. I don't know if he tried to fuck this guy or that was his goal, but it sort of plays it into the whole angle of him wanting to humiliate people. So apparently, according to him, he switched degrees several times and had one meltdown after failing one of the degrees. I think he ended up with English. He probably did a couple years of English, didn't finish his degree, but it was at least enough to teach grade school or whatever the fuck he teaches these days. After one meltdown, he supposedly fled to Malta and sat in a hotel room, chain smoking for 2 weeks, until his dad or his granddad came and paid his bill. Because apparently he's the kind of person who doesn't go there with any kind of money and then just expects his family to fix shit for him. Like a true spoiled little nobleman.
International espionage, fleeing from country to country to chain smoke. What a disgusting human being. Absolutely despicable behavior in my mind. What is this weird affection PPP has for Godwinson? How did this even start? Why does he worship him like the god of the internet or something? I don't understand it. I never did understand it. Why does he suck his cock so much?
Because he treats him like shit. This is part of the whole humiliation ritual, right? They're both men who have a fascination with humiliating people and being humiliated. With PPP, it's much more in both of the sides. Whereas with Adam Edge, he loves humiliating others and completely loses his shit when others humiliate him.
Wow.
Which might have...
I can't believe it. That's insane. Humiliation fetishes from two supposed pure Christian men who attack others for their sexual deviancy, engaging at the same time in acts of sexual deviancy themselves.
Oh yeah, for Godwinson, the Christianity is a complete lark. I mean, this also pops up in the Leo recording of him, where he says like, "Oh no, I'm not a real Christian. I've been to church a couple of times at Christmas with the family, and that is all." There's nothing real about that, and we know now from Surfer that PPPs is fake as well. Whether or not they shared this or they were larping to each other, who the fuck knows? But
Why is it that Godwinson is so upset making PPP eat food, eat more and more food? Why?
well, it goes back to the Jahan's angle, right? He wants to humiliate that person, and what better way to humiliate someone than to force feed them into like a large monstrosity that everyone would be disgusted by? Kind of what like PPP became after his stint of muck banging, and I mean he was never a thin guy to begin with, but I don't know how much fucking weight he gained, but there's no going back from that. Like, the guy needs like legitimate fucking surgery, even if he manages to lose all those pounds just to get rid of the excess skin, right? It's over in that regard. And the same thing is the case for Jahan's. I mean, in that regard, probably Jahan's is healthier than PPP at this point since he's off the HRT now, but yeah. And that's also kind of what large amounts of eating food does, right? It almost acts like HRT, because the massive amounts of fats will stimulate production of estrogen, which slowly turns them more feminine, more gay. There's another angle there. That's also probably why he wanted to do the meeting IRL, because I think he was just craving PPP's boy puss. That pink starfish that's just inexplicably bald. Which I don't know if that's grooming, but, you know, if you combine it with Surfer talking about him shoving dildos up his asshole, it kind of, you know, comes together.
And when Godwinson visited PPP, it was well known that they had a drunken stream where they yelled at each other. I think, was that the pork chop stream? Was that a separate stream? I forget.
Yeah, that's the one where they were talking about, I mean, I don't know how explicitly you want me to quote them, but they were talking about, you know, well, Surfer was very emphatic about killing all of a certain racial group.
And he was asking if I was a faggot. He asked me, "Are you a faggot?" multiple times.
Are you a fag? Yeah. I think I remember that, yeah.
Now, curiously, from my sources, it appears that everyone in that room was drunk or on some kind of alcohol or drugs, except one man,
Godwinson.
He was stone cold sober, manipulating. He had multiple drunk men with him, and I don't even want to assume what happened.
Yeah, and this all plays back into the humiliation ritual, right? He's there sober to document these retard degenerates debasing themselves. Just like his favorite videos, just like basically what Jahan's. He's the observer, observing the retards making themselves out to be fools and doing very homosexual things. Like, I'm pretty sure that was also the stream where Surfer started showing his dick, right?
Yes, it was.
God knows what happened after the cameras were turned off, because at a certain point, did they actually even end the stream, or was it pulled? Because if it was pulled, then God knows how long that kept going on for.
I don't even remember.
You know, funnily enough, it seemed that in the pork shop scene, PPP was kind of aware that Godwinson was pushing Surfer to blow his shit up. Because Surfer also started attacking PPP and started just, you know, making a fool out of him, because he was willing to use all kinds of very explicit language that PPP wasn't, because PPP was very censored back then. He was very afraid to lose his YouTube channel, because that would spell doom for his intellect career, right? So he just keeps on going with, like, the you know, I think he kept saying, like, "Surfer, calm it down, buddy. You're gonna get us banned. Oh no, buddy. Oh no, this is terrible." Just, the guy was cucking hard, which is also one of the first moments when people really started going, "Hey, you know what? This PPP guy, actually pretty big cuck. Why the fuck would you care about how many views you have on your YouTube channel? This is utterly pointless bullshit." But no, PPP, of course, wants us to be like the nostalgia critic. And all of these amazing idols he had when he was a kid.
Wants to be the nostalgia critic. He wants to take you back to the past.
To play the shitty games that suck ass.
He remembers it so you don't have to.
It's interesting they insulted me for crying about my family issues on the stream. Well, PPP's most famous stream, the Butthole Starfish stream, was preempted by him crying about his family drama for multiple hours. He was having a mental breakdown on stream before him, and that's why he showed his butthole.
That's an interesting angle, though, that he was actually crying about shit there. But that was what that stream was, right? He was fucking a very obese, not morbidly obese at that point yet, although arguably, I mean, God knows how much the fuck he weighed. Like, showing his asshole on camera, putting thumbtacks, or was it like, what do you call those, staples in his fucking forehead? Because chat was telling him to. I mean, it doesn't require a genius to figure out, oh, hey, this is a humiliation ritual he was putting himself through. Which also comes back to putting dildos up his ass, as Surfer said. It's just the man has a giant humiliation fetish. This is what he lived for.
Toilets and heads for blackmail footage.
Yes, let's not forget that fucking juicy detail that he bragged about too. Holy shit. Bragging about having women put their heads in the toilet. Just imagine what kind of like disgusting cretin you have to be to get off on that shit. Holy fuck. This is just... And of course people like that will gravitate to him, right? Because he's a big sign of... It's like SM freaks going to an SM club. That's essentially what PPP became to humiliation people. And also likely when Godwinson latched onto it, he saw, oh, this large fat man is humiliating himself. He can make good money off of this. Oh, this will be hours of content. Genuinely, I suspect Godwinson might at some point come back, specifically to release a documentary about PPP, because the guy has so thoroughly humiliated himself on camera that he can do like a great fucking series on it, just like he did on Jahan's. Pay another guy to do the editing for him, because also, by the way, Godwinson does not ever do any editing himself. Or actually, he did in some of his first videos. It was really fucking shitty. So, whenever you watch anything from Godwinson that has half-decent editing, it's usually done by this guy called, I think he's called Esoteric PPPism or something. That's what he goes by a lot. I'm not sure what his name was before that, but that's what he's known as these days. Because Godwinson can't edit for shit, and he's too lazy to do it himself, and I think it's also a thing where he likes having other people do it for him, probably because it's part of the humiliation to have people working for him, the Baron who's paying people with his grandfather's barony money to edit his fucking videos, clean up his shit, like Surfer cleaned up the toilet after PPP. It's, oh man. Okay, but let me quickly read through more of the Toby.txt. Switched to Greece several times. Yeah, that's the meltdown. He was bullying Johans before Esoteric. Yeah, that's irrelevant. He used to have a Twitter account called President Edge. But of course, like everything that Godwinson does, he just fucking deletes it out of after a certain point. He would make shitty commentary videos on Johans while shuffling backwards and forwards in front of a hedge. So we called him Adam Hedge.
They called him Adam Hedge?
Adam Hedge, yes.
Adam
because
Hedge.
he was probably too afraid to show his living room when he did his streams, right?
So he was
So
out in his
he
garden
does.
showing off his bushes.
Yeah, well, a hedge, yeah. Here we get to the really juicy shit. As far as I'm aware, he also got a 17-year-old lad pissed at a Johans meetup and took him back to his hotel room. Think of that what you will. That's that's the big allegation coming from Verse and J2X. You spend all that time at Brew with the Britpole crowd with him, right? Well, oh yeah, here we get some other stuff. Apparently his grandfather's the patriarch of the family. God knows, probably old money or some shit like that, right? He never mentioned any siblings, likely an only child. He went to public school and even had his own fag. Now, of course, you might not know what a fag is, but apparently, according to British jargon, it's like here he describes it. It's a public school thing. The prefects in the upper years get their own first year to basically be their little slave. Which, further plays into the whole humiliation rituals the man seems to be absolutely obsessed by. Here's the Wikipedia definition. Fagging was a traditional practice in British public schools and also at many other boarding schools, whereby younger pupils were required to act as a personal servant to the older boys. This also honestly might be the root of his homosexual tendencies, but God knows, really. What does he say? Yes, British boarding schools are hotbeds of suppressed homosexuality. Public schools in the UK mean something different to the rest of the world. A public school here is fee-paying, extremely exclusive, some of the oldest, most prestigious schools on the planet. Eton and Rugby are public schools. I mean, which is weird, because when you think of public schools, you'd figure anybody could get in, right? But apparently you have to pay a bunch of money here, very exclusive. He went to Tonberry?
Tonberry? Like from Final Fantasy?
Weasel! Weasel! Are you there, Weasel? Damn it, I lost him!
Weasel, seemingly upset at my terrible joke, had cut off contact. Out of options and desperate for answers, I did the unthinkable. The impossible. I watched a Godwinson stream.
Let's get down to business. To shape up Fuentes. All right, are you ready? He stopped masturbating.
Let's get ready to rumble. He folds his clothes. He cooks.
She cooks his chicken tendies.
Scrubs the sheets that he sleeps upon. 23 years ago, he escaped a vagina. And now, let's give it up.
The one, the only,
Fuentes.
Mrs. Fuentes. How are you doing today, Miss Fuentes?
Hello? Hi, is this working? Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Fuentes.
Hello? Oh, hello? Oh, yes, I see the both of you. Hi. Oh, handsome boys. Hi. Hi there.
It's great to have you with us, Miss Fuentes. We agreed that this interview was going to be all-encompassing. We agreed that nothing was off the table. So, I want to start off light. I want to start off right at the beginning, to be honest, Mrs. Fuentes. What was it like, first of all, growing up? What was it like being Miss Fuentes before you were Mrs. Fuentes?
Oh boy. You mean my story? You mean me growing up?
We want to hear your story today, Mrs. Fuentes, because we've heard enough of your son and his antics and his shenanigans. We want to paint the picture of you, Mrs. Fuentes.
Oh, well, I grew up in a traditional Jewish household.
Wait a minute. That voice.
Had my bar mitzvah in a suburb of Chicago. I was a bit of a wild girl.
Computer, run voice data analysis.
I was with...
Running voice data analysis.
Oh, hi, is this Cahul?
Oh, Godwinson, you're so funny.
Voice analysis complete. 100% match.
A perfect match! I have you now. Months ago, I began an investigation into a nefarious agent who had found its way to my Discord servers. This so-called bio-female had attempted to contact me and have a debate However, upon entering the voice channel, all she did was discuss $1 million extreme books and other stupid art shit that no sane man really gives two fucks about. However, before leaving, she left me with a warning not to tell anyone that she was in the Discord server, otherwise it will be bad for the others. Insidiously implying there was a coalition of e-girls out to destroy my life. Upon realizing this, I immediately began scrambling, moving at a lightning pace to find as much as I could. I only gathered a small second snippet of voice data to analyze against. At one point, Snacks, the e-girlfriend of PPP, had called into a show I was doing.
Call from Fox. To accept, press 1.
Hello, who is this?
Oh, hi, is this Cahul?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, hi. This is PPP's girlfriend. I just wanted to let you know that he is on his way to me.
Oh, okay, that's good. Can you tell me he's a fat fucking loser for me?
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, bro.
This woman, so-called girlfriend of PPP, had also left but a few seconds of audio logs. However, thankfully, I was able to record these properly. And after running multiple voice analysis datas, I was unable to get a perfect match with these two clips. However, with the Mama Fuentes data in hand, I was able to 100% confirm that Snacks is not only Mama Fuentes, but also the nefarious peacekeeper who had entered my Discord server. Now I had her. Finally, a lead, a breakthrough. Snacks was the coalition of evil women. Snacks was the evil online. I had finally discovered a real truth, a real breakthrough, and I knew exactly who I needed to contact to find out more. Calling Surfer! Calling Surfer! Surfer, are you there? Do you read me? Surfer, are you there?
Oh, dude. Fuck you, what a faggot. Are you just getting off work, or what are you getting up to? What are you up to tonight?
Good to hear from you, buddy. Let's sit down and have this call. Surfer, thank you for being with me tonight. Now, as far as you are aware, when exactly was it that Godwinson and PPP were talking about betraying and snaking on me? Was this before I told him his editing was shit, or was it after the Golden Guns?
I feel like the first time I ever heard them talking about whether they were gonna not snake on. I don't think they used the word snake on you, but like that's what they were talking about doing. It was right around that when the FBI stuff happened. Adam was worried, but PPP still sort of took your side for a while, and then Adam just sort of closed him down over the next few months, right? But certainly they were both on board, and they were both talking about it at least 2 weeks before the Lotsa stream, and because I can remember dissuading them from doing that, and then that ended up happening.
Now let's move on to the e-girls. Can you tell me, were PPP and Godwinson heavily involved with these e-girls?
I think in terms of the e-girl involvement, like Adam didn't want to have anything to do with the e-girls. I don't to my knowledge, other than like Snacks and the Irish tranny being involved in the in the shows they did, like the show where one of them was like Juanita, the John Michael Kelly raped.
Right.
The show that like with Nick Fuentes' mom, that interview, like those ones. And I think Snacks ran OBS a fair bit. So as far as her involvement in that, I'm sure she was on the calls for but not 4 hours a day, like when they were beating off about movies and this and that, and Alfred Hitchcock and all these other names I don't know. I no, I don't think she was involved in that stuff.
Now let's talk about Snacks specifically. Did Snacks ever interact with you directly?
In her defense, she sent me a swastika cookie cutter. It fucking sucked compared to the one I made. She like soldered it with like lead solder. She sent me a styrofoam because she like welds and whatnot, right? Like she's got rough leathery hands. She's got rough leathery hands, and she does trades. She welds and she does electrical work, and all this sort of stuff. And I think that might be sort of part of the reason why PPP chose her over the Irish tranny, because she could be the man at the house and do all the fixer-upper work around the trailer.
Surfer, you mentioned multiple e-girls. He was courting multiple e-girls at once?
Well, the guy thought he was a hero for it, right? Like, and we'd get drunk, Gahul. We'd get drunk, and he'd tell me about how he has like 8 e-girls that are, that like bag for his cock. And he goes, he'd tell me, Surfer, you got to start talking to these e-girls. He goes, buddy, like, it's amazing. He goes, like, it's unreal. He goes, if I can get 8 e-girls, Surfer, just imagine how many e-girls you could get.
Wow, 8 of them. That's a lot. You sure he wasn't lying to make himself look like a big dick, big champ there?
I think he was lying to me. Maybe it wasn't 8, but I don't think it was 8 that he was talking to consistently. I think it was just 3. But he might have had 8 that that sent him wife applications or whatever the fuck, and he talked to from time to time. But the only ones he was talking to like every day on these long fucking Discord calls were the Irish tranny, fucking Snacks, Louisiana succubus, and or maybe Catfish Gator. Fucking maybe the Louisiana succubus has been Catfish Gator this whole time. Being unfaithful to his mensch. But other than that, there's just this Mandy girl. I think it was maybe like the Mandy girl that Ear Juice was talking to or whatever.
Okay.
But she was actually, Mandy was around for the longer than any of the rest of them. Like Mandy got us the This Week in Cuckada articles from like the second episode of This Week in Cuckada on, like as far back as whenever that was. Once again, my temporal awareness isn't through the roof. It's getting there. But, Mandy was from way back then. And actually how she first came on the scene, like PPP didn't actually have an interest in Mandy, really. He just like financially, like it was like this financial domination thing with her. And like this humiliation thing where like she was the like she'd legitimately like send him pictures of putting her head in the toilet, like smacking her ass in high heels with her head in the toilet. Like she'd send him videos of this. Like actually, like he'd tell her to do whatever his fucking sick fantasy was, and she'd do it. It wouldn't fucking matter, like anything. And she how she first came on the scene, like she started sending him $20 a month on Patreon. And then like whenever he'd ask her for money, she'd send him money. And she'd also send him like these weird videos and whatnot.
Now these e-girls, it wasn't just online talks. They would send money and gifts through the mail to PPP, correct?
Both of them would send him like boxes full of like either Irish like snacks, like snacks and candies and treats, and Snacks herself, she would send like American like Oreos and all sorts of different snacks and treats. But she would also Snacks would actually bake them stuff. Like she'd bake them like not snickerdoodles, but she'd bake them like different cookies.
And he would eat these?
He had no fear. He goes, "Oh, they're fine. They're fine. There isn't going to be anything wrong with them." I go, I don't know if I'm going to try one.
And what about the Irish tranny?
Well, in the Irish tranny, what she'd do is, or what he'd do, I guess is a better phrasing, is he'd draw pictures. He'd like cut out the paper into the shape of a heart and like draw a picture of like PPP holding hands with a Pokemon. And then this Irish tranny would fucking spray this picture with its perfume and then fold it up and send it. Like it was an artist. It would draw PPP pictures of Pokemon and send them in these boxes. And every box, always, it made the fucking house reek of perfume because it would fucking spray it with his perfume. And it would be a picture of like PPP with like his gut hanging out, like holding the hand of like, oh fuck, I wish I could remember the Pokemon names. It wasn't Charmander, but in like the Pokemon like Silver and Gold, what was the fucking fire type Pokemon?
Cyndaquil.
Yeah. With his gun out, holding Cyndaquil's hand. And it would smell like this feminine perfume, like a fucking, oh fuck, but the Irish tranny, she fucking, I kept calling her a dumpy bitch. I said, "Are you talking to that dumpy bitch again?" And fucking, she'd get rattled, right? So that's why he ended up choosing Snacks over the Irish tranny. And fucking Snacks, she sent, in terms of video games and her boxes, because Snacks comes from money, right? Like she's got like her family owns a fair bit of Louisiana, I guess. The same with the other one, the Irish tranny. The Irish tranny, her family had like a dowry, and she'd tell PPP that if he married her, that like he'd inherit this dowry and this farmland in Ireland.
So these e-girls have deep-rooted connections to the financial elites. Now, you mentioned candy. How much candy was PPP getting on the weekly?
Like the amount of fucking, if I could show you the amount of fucking like candy and snacks that she'd send them in these fucking boxes, like we're talking. Here, hold on. Let me get my measuring tape. Give me 15 seconds to go get a measuring tape, and I'll tell you some dimensions.
You got it.
Other thing, before I forget, I got the measuring tape. But the other thing too, like she'd because she like knitted and fucking sewed, like Snacks made that Christmas fucking hat that said Big Dog on it. But she'd also like make them shirts and stuff. The one time she sent a like, how tailors have the measuring tapes that are just like a roll, and they measure you with it, and they measure like around you and everything. She fucking sent one of those, and I had to like measure around his head, and like I had to take the dimensions of his gunt.
You had to measure his gunt? Please tell me you have this data recorded. We must release this for the public's knowledge.
No, I wish I did. I did. But I remember measuring it. But these boxes were probably about, they're maybe 2 foot. The size of them would probably be 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet.
And these giant boxes would be what, half full of candy and treats?
Oh, like full. Like there'd be there'd be fucking shirts. There'd be these shirts, and there'd be like the odd thing, like the fucking Cyberpunk 2077, or there'd be the Pokemon drawings or whatever. Like these are fucking full boxes, like every snack you could imagine, and the guy would sit there in the office and just eat all these snacks in like a fucking week. Like at the start, he fucking he at the start they knew about each other, you know, and he like when they first sent a box, he like had them compete. You know, he like pitted them against each other. The PP pimp strong, to be honest. But yeah, so he's pitting these two against each other, and he fucking maybe like 2 weeks in, like after they each got the box, they after they first sent the first box, he told the Irish tranny that he chose her, you know, and he told me that he liked the Irish tranny more. You know, maybe it's his fucking background in homosexuality or I don't know, but he liked this tranny better than this real woman, you know, be it a Louisiana succubus. You know, but,
Right.
no, he told the Irish tranny that like he still talked to Snacks, but he wasn't serious about her. Like he just like, you know, it was just a joke, this and that. But at New Year's, what happened was I mentioned that the about this box that he got, because in the box I got the it was the box she sent me the swastika cookie cutter, and she sent me the like the stylophone or whatever, right? So I brought out the stylophone to like play a song while I was all drunk.
Yeah.
And I fucking said that she sent it, and PPP fucking panicked and muted it. And he goes, "Don't fucking say that, bro. You know, don't say that." They like I told the other one that I wasn't talking to the other one anymore. He was starting to give in to their whims at this point. At this point, he had become addicted to the e-girls, and he was no longer the PPP pimp, but he was getting PP pimped instead. So then, because of that, like in the week thereafter, he was forced to choose. You know, like both e-girls gave him an ultimatum, and because the Irish tranny, you know, with its fucking testosterone raging, it was a bit more aggressive with its ultimatum. Even though the PPP with his homosexual delights liked the Irish tranny a bit better, he ended up going with Snacks because she wasn't so aggressive about that with her ultimatum.
Now, before, you mentioned Snacks was quite old. What exact age would you say this woman is? 28, 30, 50, 78, 87, 109? What do you know?
Well, you know, like in all fairness, you know, like jokes aside, like she's not actually 96. You know, in all fairness, like I thought that out of the times I talked to her, and I saw her on the computer screen, I would have pinned her at 28. You know, in all fairness. But I heard from like my sources. Now you never know when you're staring into the abyss here on Discord, you know. But I heard that she was like early 30s, and she like probably like 31, 32, 33, something like that.
Surfer, I want to thank you so far. Is there anything else you want to close out our conversation here with?
I guess the only other thing that, like, to complete the story, I guess, and the reason why I have no remorse, and you know, this e-girl can get fucked. You know, she never properly repented of disparaging my good name. It was after when me and PPP fought, right? Because she started to try to drive a wedge, I guess, between me and PPP before that when he was still living here. But when we had that first fight, when he went to the trailer for a few days, when he like rabbit punched me in the back of the head or whatever, the when that fight happened and he went to the trailer, the whole week he was at the trailer, like you'd be talking to her on Discord, I guess, and she'd fucking like shit all over me. So she just like she saw that as her opportunity, right? And when we fucking like when we smoothed it all over, you know, we fucking made up for that fight, and PvP moved back in here. She still saw that as like her golden fucking opportunity. to get the guy to go to fucking Louisiana or whatever the case was, or to fucking make her way up to the trailer in the woods, you know. So she'd fucking sit on the calls with them, and I'd fucking be working. I'd come out on break and I'd fucking hear her, and she's just fucking telling them how fucking awful I am and how unfair to him I am, and you know, how I derail all the streams and I'm just a rambling schizophrenic, you know. And she just, like, after we made up from that fight, like, this e-girl really fucking, like, tried to dig the wedge deeper and deeper. And because the guy was so cucked to her at this point, he just agree with her, you know, and fucking not go to bat at all for his brother, you know. So I tell him, like, listen, like, if this e-girl is just gonna fucking, like, shit all over me, you know, you need to put her in her place. And he goes, oh, well, it's not worth it, you know. It's you know, she's upset because we had that fight, and it's you know, it's just not worth getting into a fight with her about, you know. So then the one day I came out on fucking break, you know, and I could hear her fucking doing the same thing, and I said to him, I said something to him right along the lines of, what are you talking to, dumpy bitch number 2? She fucking snapped. Now, the reason she snapped, like, I called her dumpy bitch number 2 because I used to call the Irish tranny dumpy bitch, right? So that's why I said number 2. But she interpreted it as, like, there is a second T-girl. So she fucking lost it, you know, and he got fucking upset with me after that, you know. Oh man, why'd you say that? You know, you caused this fight. You know, it's, well, maybe if you put her in her place and, like, fucking didn't just let her shit all over me at every fucking turn, you know, tell her she needs to repent. You know, I wouldn't call her dumpy bitch number 2. You know, but I really have no remorse calling her dumpy bitch number 2, and she's just gonna fucking shit all over me every day and say I'm a bad guy. You know, like, she can get fucked.
If you were to put a percentage number on this, how much of a factor was the e-girl in the breakup between you and PPP?
Oh, it was hot. It was probably the, like, if I had to weight it in a percentage, I'd probably say 65%, right? Like, it was probably 65% her. Maybe like fucking 20% like his fucking alcoholic father, and the you know, that fucking calls me a faggot and this and that, you know, and says that I'm leading him astray all the time and I'm a bad fucking guy. You know, say fucking 15% Kiwi Farms that was telling him the same shit as the e-girl. You know, maybe if you had to put his e-girl in line, things would have went better. You know, but said he got upset with me for calling her dumpy bitch number 2 because he was fucking, you know, he was caught in the fucking talons. Caught in the fucking rough-handed, the leather-handed fucking talons, you know, of the Louisiana succubus, you know, in between welding sessions.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in and giving me this info. We'll talk to you soon. I'll see you on next week's Cooking with Surfer.
After my conversation with Surfer, I was ready to release my findings to the public. However, at the last minute, a source came to me who wishes to remain anonymous, claiming to have extreme funny based dirt on this Snacks e-girl. Wanting to ensure the credibility of this information, I proposed a meetup with this man in person at a secure location. The utmost security measures were taken. The planning unmatched. No one can know who this man was, but everyone must know what he has to say.
We're here at this remote location, a safe house I prepared for my informant. Hopefully the information he's giving me is going to be credible enough to pay off. Now, this informant I've prepared says he has the real dirt, the real truth of what's happened to this man, PPP. The woman behind him, the secret she has revealed. Whether it's true or not, we're just gonna have to find out. Enemies are everywhere. They got the dog sicked on us. The neighbor can't know we're here. Hello, viewers. I have here with me the true source of information on this e-girl, Snacks. Now, tell me, how do you know about Snacks?
You know, when Snacks, she had around in a lot of Nazi Discord, where people like me go. We go from the pro-board of the 4chan. We special Discord, we talk a lot. She was in there talking literally all day. With all kinds of weird people. Obsessing over them. Very, very strange woman. Absolute drama whore.
Wow.
And apparently she pretends to be some kind of a traditional e-girl, but she's also 28. It's not children. I likes to go around with very dodgy people, you understand?
Interesting. Huh. Now, these Nazi discords you were in, how and why was Snacks in them?
You know, she's a lonely traditional e-girl who's 28 and childless. She's there talking in Discord VC 24/7, talking, you know, getting obsessive about, for instance, this one guy called Dingo, no relation to the Dingo from Ethan and Elf, but he is, you know, very well-built guy. He put on his webcam all day, you know, lonely woman like Snacks. She, you know, had the old clitoris to it all night because she is so lonely and so sad. Yes, and also, you know, other discords that she got in where, you know, Nazi Satanist gangs called like the Order of 9 Angles, where apparently they groom people and do sex magic with strange satanic rituals with blood, probably cutting themselves and then showing it to the other people on there. She would make art from them. There was a lot of that going on with the Order of 9 Angles.
Now, hold it right there. When we talked on the way in, you told me about a man named Torba. Who is Torba?
I see. Torba is, you know, kind of homosexual Nazi guy, which, or maybe bisexual.
Wow.
You know, people in this community would bully him because he's homosexual by also pretending to be Nazi, but Snacks is strange woman. She'll really get into this guy, want to start a relationship with him, saying she, you know, loves him, all things like that.
So, this Torba, this, as you would say, a homo-fash, he was dating Snacks.
Yes, he was. It was a very, very disgusting situation. Like, Menace clearly not right in this woman also not very strange.
Incredible.
Yes. He was also very obsessive about like kiwi farms and would like brag about how he would openly post on there with his ID and say like, oh yes, I'm such a big man because I post on kiwi farm and all my enemies are running fear because I tell the kiwi farms about it.
Wow.
And
Wow.
very big guy because of kiwi farms. Of course, the LGBT Nazis on his Discord, they laugh at him. Because he's a stupid idiot, why would you possibly brag about kiwi farms? You idiot. You know, this guy, he was a really immature, kind of stupid guy, but he was only 16, so you know, he didn't really believe in that.
So wait. He was how old?
He was 16. But he said to her at first, I was 18.
16? Wow. But she didn't know about it at first, right? That's obvious. But she found out. What did she do after she found out?
Well, she's everything. She's the most, I love this 16-year-old man very much. I mean, look easy. We have great love between us.
Wow. Even after finding out that he was underage, she still dated him because they were in love. Now that's some fucked up shit.
Yes, you tell me. It's very pedophilic behavior if you ask me, no?
So, what you're telling me is this so-called traditional Christian values ego was actually a pedophile.
You know, he said first, I'm 18, he has no voice, you know, she believes that she's moving on. And then he said, no, I'm actually 16, and she just goes along with it, because she was always, you know, I wasn't, this guy is no problem, he's no problem.
How did this blossoming groomer relationship on Discord fall apart, though? How did Snacks come to be the PPP girl?
Okay, you see, Mr. Thorpe, he loves the PPP, right? He loves the Ashton, he go on the internet, he posts on the Discord, on the kiwi farms, on the board, and he tells them, oh, look at this man studying, he is so great, he was everywhere for him. Idolizes these PPP men, talk about him nonstop.
Wow!
And then Miss Snacks, she found out, oh hey man, I like this PPP man too. And then she, you know, becomes more and more interested in the PPP, until eventually she keeps telling him how she finds him very attractive. Can you imagine this fat man? She says, I am attracted to him. But of course, the Torma, he does nothing about it, he does nothing. And then eventually she break up with the Torma and get with the PPP.
So, to reiterate, Torba, the 16-year-old mentally ill homo-fast boyfriend of Snacks, was so in love with PPP's videos, he showed them everywhere. And he showed them so much, his girlfriend left him for PPP.
Okay, so this woman, she's single. Oh yes, this PPP man, he attacked all the influence, the Dig Masters and the Ethan Ralph, all these very gay individuals on the internet. And he destroyed them. But then she found out that PPP behind scenes actually idolizes these people. He wants to be like them. He is going around saying, oh, I hate the Ethan Ralph, I will destroy him. But then he admits behind scenes that he actually loves this man. He wants to be like him, and this is also he can get views. He's a very fake individual, even story about him getting fired from church by fans of Ethan Ralph calling them was complete bullshit.
I cannot believe it.
Just like his faith in Jesus Christ.
You can't make this shit up, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't make it up.
So this PPP, for instance, he knows that Snacks is hanging out with all kinds of biker men. Like Nazi bikers, she goes on like every weekend, while PPP is over there in Canada just jerking his tiny little penis and putting dildos up his ass. And he gets angry at her for, hanging out with bikers and probably getting fucked in every hole at the same time.
That's fucked up.
And she doesn't stop. No, she gets angry and she begs for being called out for the Holy's race. When she goes on PPP, he does nothing. You little weak bitch man. Beta male.
You know, they say the truth is stranger than fiction. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, it really is.
So after finding out, this man is completely full of shit. She get rid of the PPP, because he is just that useless piece of shit.
So you're telling me she broke up with him, the PP pimp didn't drop his hoe?
No, of course not. PPP is a great big liar. He comes up with all kinds of bullshit to make himself look very big man, but he's not. He's only very small man. Very tiny ego, very tiny brain.
If the public knew about this, they would lose their minds.
Yes. It's very shocking, disgusting story, I know. But this is hard truth, and PPP and this snacks woman and this Tom Bundy need to live with it, and the truths need to be told to the world.
This has shocked me to my core, dear audience. I want to thank you for coming forward and delivering this truth to the people. You took a risk, Herculean in effort. God as my witness, may God have mercy on these e-girl souls. And thank you for your justice you've brought to the world, dear sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing we've learned here today, you never know what that e-girl you're DMing online has done in the past. And maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't find out.
Well, dear viewers, as I'm sure you've all seen, Godwinson has begun to crumble. Leaving internet forever, his next generation, Rudy Coleman and the Daimo, have respectively come out as gay and had sissy cock photos in cock cages of themselves be shared online. And Simon also, in the case of the Daimo, he fucking doxed himself. Fitting that these are the replacements for Godwinson. Ironically, despite setting out to find the truth about Godwinson, I ended up discovering very little about him. Perhaps it is fitting that even in a video about him, Godwinson still ends up being the most boring player in the room.
On the next episode of Conspiracy Theory, The Rock, the highest paid actor in the world. But is he a movie star? One man says otherwise.
And I'm like, man, I'm not even gay, but if I was and he was available, I'd let him climb me. You know what I mean? Like, I do like the guy quite a bit.
I understand, Trevor. I know how much you.
I just don't think he's a movie star. That's all.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
And are the children his? No. All this and more on the next episode of Conspiracy Theory.